He's a purple belt, but competes almost constantly. In fact, took this match on about 6 hours' notice. He messaged me yesterday and said, Rory, if anybody falls off this card, I want on.
Oh, nice double leg.
Jamaal, very good wrestler, actually competed on our wrestling show, Parabellum Luctator, and scored a win over Anthony Romero, which is,
wow.
Yeah, very impressive. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. Kyle, very tricky jiu-jitsu player. Jamaal, more heavily a wrestler.
Rolled with Kyle many times at Bora. Like you said, very, very tricky.
Yeah. Yeah, tough too. Tough too. One of those unassuming jiu-jitsu guys that kind of look like you might want to take their lunch money, but then will ruin your day 100 different ways.
Absolutely.
Working for that toe hold theme that we've seen a number of times tonight. Yeah, not my favorite of the footsies to play. Low percentage. These guys playing kind of weak 50-50.
Obviously, I know you love the heel hooks and whatnot, but if you can't do toe holds, what would be next? Straight ankle lock you'd rather?
I like straight ankle locks, but again, as you commented, that can oftentimes just be a pain-based submission.
Yep.
I found myself favoring crushers and knee bars because you're able to threaten the knee, but just without the rotation.
I think it's a bigger limb to control as well.
It is.
Right, so.
As I evolve in jiu-jitsu, I find myself favoring strangles more and more because it takes toughness and flexibility totally out of the equation. It's just shutting that carotid off.
You can only tough it out until you're unconscious.
The strongest willed person on earth is still going to be asleep in 5 seconds. Again, that toe hold, Kyle very aware of it, and curling those toes to prevent. Still playing this kind of weak 50-50.
Using kind of like a can opener almost, just to
control the head. It's not a bad idea. It keeps from extending out. It does put your arm in play. I saw a really cool arm bar from Dean Lister.
I was looking at
that knee bar.
Yeah.
Kyle, clearly the more comfortable athlete playing with leg locks. I've rolled with Kyle as well, and he has some of the most flexible ankles of anybody I've ever rolled with. And he genuinely said one time, put me in an ankle lock, I won't defend and see if you can finish it, and I couldn't do it, which isn't common.
There's no bones in there.
No, he's just...
Gumby ankle.
His sole of his foot can hit his calf. We have 5 minutes left. Still stuck in this 50-50 position. This is another reason I'm not a huge fan of this. It tends to be something you need to be constantly aware of your opponent's attacks. You can't really commit to your own, so we end up having these kind of stalled out 50-50 stalemates, Mexican standoff, where both athletes have kind of valuable threats, but they can't commit to them because they're defending their opponent's equally credible threat.
I think it's where, like, if heel hooks were allowed, it would kind of.
Then it becomes a quick draw. Yeah. And it's whoever hates their ACL more commit to it.
Crisscross 50-50.
Kyle looking again to extend that right leg of Jamaal.
Disadvantage that Kyle has here is that he's shorter than Jamaal by quite a bit.
Yeah.
And the leg locks always favor the taller opponent, offensively and defensively. Just be tough to get the amount of leverage you need on a leg when your body's so much shorter than their leg is.
I have that problem.
You resemble that comment.
Just about 3.5 minutes remaining. A very even match so far.
Parabellum Quintet is, of course, named after my home gym, Parabellum MMA.
Oh. Kyle looking for that knee bar.
Not isolating, again, and that's the problem with the shorter opponent. You can't isolate the hip and be all the way down at the ankle at the same time. So an athletic, fairly aware athlete is able to slide out quite easily. These wonderful rash guards made by a local company under the gi. All locally sourced labor, and the rash guards themselves are made from plastic pulled out of the ocean. So a local company making a global impact.
Say nothing but good things about Under the Gi. They've done my fight shorts for the last couple of fights, and they've been awesome.
Good people, good people. Kat and David are sweethearts. Kyle, co-owner of Bora Bjj with Matt McDonald, who we just saw win against Gabriel Arujo. Matt in Kyle's corner now. Matt imploring Kyle to go for it, saying the fatigue is shared by Jamaal, your opponent. And again, this is a good example of where Purple Belt is not doing quite as good a job addressing that knee shield as we saw some of the more advanced grapplers in the quintet do, and Kyle able to progress and actually threaten a little.
He's going for that toe hold now, Jamaal. Both guys rolling.
But as I said, Kyle's ankle is extremely flexible.
You can see it.
Yeah, it's like there's no ligaments in them. He said, "Have at it, Haas," and Jamaal sharing my frustration. Gumby ankles.
Kyle pushing the pace now.
Yeah, Kyle genuinely being the more. Oh! That's a throw invented by my wrestling coach in university, Canadian Olympian Doug Cox. It's a modified overhook throw, and Jamaal set that up on Anthony Romero. Really nice throw, but again, in submission-only jiu-jitsu,
looks great.
It looks great, but you just landed in the guard of black belt. So maybe not the most strategically sound choice, but certainly an impressive toss. Approaching the final minute of this super fight between Jamaal Richey, Kyle Willrich.
Push. You got 1 minute. Let's go. Give it all you got. Yes.
Credit to Jamaal for making this match against a black belt so competitive. You see Jamaal's wrestling background also favoring him in athleticism.
Yeah.
This longer match, he doesn't seem any less fresh than he was at the start, although he may want to move on to something other than that ankle lock.
Stay up. Let's go. Attack that foot. Do something.
Final 20 seconds. Short time decisions. Let's see if we can maybe catch a sub on the way out the door.
Kyle looking to attack that knee bar again. Oh.
Ten-second complicated leg entanglement. Unlikely anything will develop in the short time that's left.
Oh. A little bit.
Oh.
Nice try.
I may have spoke too soon. That was almost a knee bar.
I like how he reached around.
Let's see how the refs score this.
It has to be because.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, your winner by referee decision, fighting out of the red corner, Jamaal.
So that's essentially a split decision. We had one judge awarding that for Kyle, and the other two awarding that for Jamaal.
How do you see that?
And now for the
I think the aggression should be geared towards submission finishes, not just aggressive wrestling.